Hi guys, I'm Mr. Razor and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you guys my December 2020 bullet journal setup, and for the holidays, I decided to go with one of those more elegant cursive fonts to go with the holiday feel of Christmas. And so I literally chose like a font called Christmas Time that I found on dafont.com to stylize my setup to. For those of you who have watched some of my previous monthly setups, since I don't really like to choose a theme and get really artistic with my spreads, I simply choose a fun font each month, as there is an infinite number of fonts out there to choose from, and then I stylize the setup of each spread I use to that font. I will shortly also have a blog post through Archer and Olive's website explaining this process that I created for myself to follow. And what this results in, like following just a font to stylize your spreads to, are like unlimited minimalist spreads that still look cool and fun while being simple and easy to set up, with the main trick of simply changing the font each month. So now moving on to explaining my December setup here. Since the Christmas time font highlights this elegant flair and curvy style, I found that it would be appropriate to use a scroll type of outline to the cover here, as it has those curves on the sides. And this also works to match with the wish list concept for Christmas, with the naughty and nice list for Santa, making it a really easy and perfect idea for the holidays. When starting out here, I did have a little trouble getting my Sharpie S-Gel to write, and it's most likely due to how I was carrying them around in my bag a few times, and it is known out there that the S-Gels tend to have a little trouble if you drop them or shake them up too much, which will cause them to skip quite a bit. But in the end, I went back to one of my old Pigma microns of the nice and thick 1.0 tip pen for the super thick bold line I wanted for the scroll. Then I went back to my Sharpie S-Gels, which I finally got back to working, to writing smoothly to finish off the rest of the page. And on the page, I simply titled it December 2020 and then put the calendar below it. And here's my calendar setup, in which I put in a little wish list on the side for any notes. And then I turned the lines in the calendar into these flare lines, or Christmas light strings, before you put the lights on them, if you want to like put lights on them later to add a little more like decoration to your spread. But anyway, all of this which matches to that Christmas time font style. Nothing super special about this page other than that it is pretty much the typical calendar setup to reference to for the month and jot down names of events happening on throughout the month. On the next page is my YouTube page where I list out the dates for planning, filming, editing, and posting my videos. It is also where I simply jot down the title names of videos I am planning to work on for the month. Currently, I am a bit behind due to tons of work and Christmas and Thanksgiving donation projects I have been working on with a friend, but I plan to catch up in the next few weeks with tons of content in store, especially with those Black Friday sales coming around, and I have tons of stuff in mind to buy and to show you guys in some haul videos. As to the setup for this page, it is a bit tight and might look a little complicated because of that, but overall it's actually not too much. Just all that you just need to do is be pretty diligent with how big your flares are so you leave enough room to write. But that's really all about it, as you are replacing the straight lines with those curvy flare lines to match with the font style. And then continuing to use those flare lines, over on the other side is my financial tracker. A little bit different again compared to the last few months. Most of the features are the same, with the starting and ending balance at the top and bottom of the page, then the smaller payment sections towards the top, and then followed by the income section, and then the expenses section that I split into 2 columns to allow for more room for writing in more expenses, as one column hasn't exactly been enough the past months, as I have been making some big and some rather also smaller purchases on the side, in which take up quite a bit of space. Flipping to the next set of pages, here's my regular grocery weekly sales tracker and sleep tracker. The grocery weekly sales tracker being one of my favorite spreads, since I eat a lot of veggies and fruit, but always work on keeping an eye for the best sales to save some money. And I left this spread a bit more open without the grid labels this time, as I know which stores I go to, and I will most likely just label the store by the letter of its name, like Q for QFC, F for Fred Meyer, and S for Safeway. And if there are any repetitive letters, I'll just add on in the lowercase to the next few letters to distinguish each store. And I'll just label this like right next to like whatever item is on sale. And then the style I went with here goes back to the wish list idea, with each grocery flyer week being another list. I refer to each week as a grocery flyer week, as it depends on what day the flyer changes for the typical grocery stores around your area. Like for my stores, they change the flyers on Wednesday each week, and overall, I really liked how this page turned out. And then with the sleep tracker page, again, only a few ways one can set up this spread, with the hours going across the top and the days of the month going downwards. But with my trick here of changing up the font and the style, it easily gives off a different look each time, and that's just by changing those 2 straight lines going horizontal and vertical into the flare lines, with those curves shown off at the ends, and of course with the just in general using the font for the headers and subheaders and the numbers. Moving on with my next set of trackers here, my mood and habit trackers. Well, let's just say that I had to squeeze in my habit tracker a bit since my mood tracker section took up a little more space than I anticipated. Here I use a smaller version of the little loops on the line like the calendar setup to set up a mini calendar grid with space to put in 2 moods for the day, one in the top half and one in the bottom half. And as usual, as I have been doing for a long time now, I just use a plus for positive, a curvy line for okay, and then a negative sign for a negative mood. Then with the habit tracker, I dialed it down to the main core habits that I know that I actually work on and use and cover throughout the months. And I did have to split the grid with half of the month stacked on top of the other, as it was the only way I would be able to fit it on the page horizontally. And I will most likely use a small flare curve to mark each section in the grid when for completion of each habit each day. And now we got my songs playlist page, and for only the month of December, literally do I ever have a fixed Christmas playlist that I automatically add to my playlist page. And as you can see here, I used the wish list scroll format again, as I thought it would be fun and appropriate for a list of songs. And here I already filled up the page with a full list of songs, mostly by NSYNC and a few other original Christmas songs that I like to listen to. I personally get super annoyed by the more traditional songs that play over and over again since like the beginning of November through the end of Christmas Day. But I still do love to listen to like these more original pop Christmas songs that are actually like even songs that I wouldn't mind listening to any time of the year. But anyway, I didn't ink in the actual songs here since I typically keep like the fill-in of my pages in pencil. I just jumped the gun a bit on filling in this playlist because I know what songs I will be listening to during the holidays. But then as I turn over to the other side of this page, here I added in one more page that is empty to add to the songs page. To list in any other new songs or just other songs that catch on to my head and my mind during the month, which is the more regular use of my playlist each month. And it's formatted on like as if it's on like the back side of the scroll from the font, which I thought was fun to do. Then simply following up, I have my one page here for listing some fun lyrics from songs that I like from any songs that I've listened to throughout the month. Continuing on with the entertainment spreads, I have my favorite movies and TV shows page listing all that I have watched during the month. As I tend to watch something every night while I eat dinner, I always enjoy listing out the title of the film or show of what I watch and who stars in it. Nice to keep track of what I've watched, and I love to keep a collection of all the films I've watched over the years. And this really helps. I could have done this as like a full collection at the beginning of the journal for over the course of the year, or in this case, the 4 months that I've been using this journal. But I just found it to be easier to do it monthly, so I don't have to allot a whole bunch of pages for listing movies at the front, because I don't really know how many movies I will actually watch across a long span of time, so the monthly tends to work out much easier. And now for the last page of the monthlies. To replace my brain dump page once again, like last month, I replaced it with a Black Friday spread because it was all that, it technically would have been all that I would have been writing in that section. In what would have been the brain dump pages. And so for this month, I replaced it with gifts or presents for all page. Or in other words, where I'll be listing the gifts I'm going to be giving to friends and family for Christmas. Since it is the month of Christmas, the main thoughts I have will be surrounding what I'd be packing for gifts. So that's why this is here instead of the regular brain dump page. Okay, so now once again, before I head off to my weekly setups, I just wanted to give y'all a heads up once again before my current giveaway ends. This giveaway here ends on December 1st, so if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to do it now so you don't miss out on winning some of this awesome stationery here, including a $40 Archer and Olive undated monthly planner. And I will put a link down below in the description box below for you. And for those of you guys who might have come a bit late, don't worry, because I will be having lots more giveaways coming up. So make sure to stay tuned to my channel and hit that subscribe button with notifications on so you don't miss out. Now heading back to my spreads and onto the weeklies. Very, very simple setup for the weeklies this month, but still looking awesome with that Christmas time font carrying through. And these weeklies show another great way to use a simple flair to title instead of the page with the side header and side line. Then the rest of the page is just to list out the days of the week, with the first week starting on a Tuesday, then the rest on the usual Sunday or Monday according to your preference. For me, I always start with Sunday, as that's how I've always structured my weeks by. The right side was a little tricky here because I didn't want to flip my notebook around to keep everything in view for you guys to write the header, but I still managed by following through with my pencil guide. That is why it's always good to do everything in pencil, because you don't want to mess up when you ink it in. And so that is my monthly bullet journal setup for December 2020, using this Christmas time font that I found on DeFont that I carried into the style and throughout the setup. And with any leftover extra space in any corners and such, feel free to fill it in with doodles or more little trackers and notes or whatever works for you. As usual, I try to keep everything very simple and easy, and as I like to call it, is being creatively minimalist, as it doesn't take much to make things look cool. Just a little tweak here and there, and you got yourself a whole new style to work with. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Also follow me on my social media for even more content and updates on things going on and other projects that I'm working on. In addition to bullet journaling, I also do lots of art and drawing videos, to stationery hauls and unboxings, and I also do lots of giveaways of lots of awesome stationery supplies like the one I just mentioned earlier that ends on December 1st, so don't forget to check that out. But again, don't worry if you happen to miss the cut, as I will have even more awesome giveaways coming. So really make sure to hit that subscribe button with notifications on and follow me on my social media for the latest updates on what's to come. Once again, thanks for coming to check out this video, and I hope it brought some inspiration and ideas for you to use in your own bullet journals. And I'll see you in the next video.